Hey, what's going on, guys? Back again with another one talking about health, wealth, success, happiness, all that good stuff. And I just figured I'd come down here, just take a second, hang out by the water. I love being by the water. There's such healing properties about being next to water, whether it's oceans, lakes, rivers, waterfalls, whatever. Everybody needs to just take a second and get by some water if you can. But yeah, man, I just wanted to come on here for a little bit and just talk about, you know, America and the American system. And, you know, the faster you realize that America is pretty much the Titanic, the quicker you can either jump ship or you can make your way to the top of the boat, you know, per se. You know, everybody starts out in the cargo hold, and, you know, this fiat system that we live in, this matrix of fiat currency that we live in, is like the sinking Titanic. You know, at first the water is up to your ankles, and then it goes up to your knees, and then it goes up to your waist, and the next minute, you know, you're underwater. Everybody's drowning, drowning in debt, drowning in depression, drowning in anxiety, and you just have to realize that, you know, this is the system. Like, again, the faster you realize it, the faster you can get out that cargo hold. So many people today, they still believe that, you know, they can get a job making $50,000, $60,000 a year and they're fine. It's like, if you never level up, you know, if you never make more money or get that next position or, you know, get a better job, you're going to drown. You're going to be underwater. And it is getting harder and harder today to make it to the top of that boat. It's still doable. But even people that I see that are way above me are still getting off the Titanic and jumping onto the life raft. One of those people that I follow, that I really like his stuff, is Coach Greg Adams. You know, this guy, he's beat the game. He's doing his thing. He's 50 years old, big YouTube streamer. And even him, right, he lives out in Las Vegas. He's got the nice house. He's got the G-Wagon. He's got the Porsche. He's got the motorcycle. He's got the guns. He's living life. He's got status. He's got money. And even him, he's like making plans right now to drop down to the Philippines. And even he understands that at some point, you got to make ways to get off of the Titanic. The faster you realize this, the faster you can get out. Now, it kind of does suck if you've fallen for the story, if you never woke up and, you know, you're struggling at your job and you have a wife and 2 kids. It's kind of hard to get off that Titanic. You know, you're trying to do what you can to make it to the top. But, you know, that whole model of working a job for 30, 40 years and then retiring is over. Nobody wants to live like that anymore. Some days it's okay and you just want to come by the water and just chill out for a second. But if you never realize the system that we live in the first place, it's a lot harder to do that. You know, it is really weird that the fiat, you know, the purchasing power of fiat, you know, in America is the strongest, right? Every country around the world has their different fiats. You know, you got the euro, you got the yen, you got Thai baht. You got, you know, Brazilian reais. Why is it that these people in these lower tier countries with the lower tier currency, why do they live better lives than people in America? What do they have figured out that Americans haven't figured out yet? You know, we're not supposed to be living, you know, chasing a paycheck and chasing work, more hours, you know, at the job, that you're just going to be forgotten about once you retire from that job anyway. And again, going back to CGA, he hates people that talk like this. He's done videos on people that have woken up and be like, we live in a matrix. But if you haven't been caught by the matrix yet, if you're still able to wake up, that's why I like talking like this. Like, this is why I like talking about this type of stuff. It's not too late to get out. A lot of people are getting out, man. It's okay to jump ship if you can't make it to the top of the Titanic, right? If you're not able to be an entrepreneur and figure out how to make $10,000-$20,000 a month, like, you're still able to get out. If you could just make a couple grand online and drop down to Thailand, there's so many people doing that right now. Now, again, if you've already been caught up, you got a family, you got, people don't understand like how much kids cost. If you're still, stuck with kids between, daycare center prices and birthdays and Christmas presents and trips and this and that, and it's just like all of that is just extracting your time, energy, and money and resources to try to get out of the system. It's just, the faster you realize that America is pretty much like the Titanic. The water's coming regardless, right? We're all starting out in the cargo hold. You got to get to the engine room, then you got to get to the sleeping quarters, then you got to get to the dining room. Like, you have to work your way up in America. Otherwise, you're going to be underwater. And so many people right now are just they're finding themselves underwater. And people are trying to cope with it too. We weren't never meant to be doing van life and living in our cars and stuff like that. Even people in Thailand that are getting by, like working and they're doing those street vendors, they still don't even live in their cars. You know what I'm saying? Like, they still got a place to, a roof over their head and stuff like that. Yeah, man, you have to understand, and the faster you wake up to America being the Titanic, the faster it is, or you can get out or climb to the top of the ship. Maybe most people don't want to leave and go to another country. They want to live in America. They love America. They want to be here. They love the place that they live in. You still got to build, though. You still got to climb. You still got to get out of that cargo hold. So many people are just fine with their regular job, and they're like, this is fine, and it's like, it's not fine. You always have to be building. That's the system we live in. You always have to be climbing to that next level. You have to understand that, the system we live in is like the Titanic. The water's coming. It's at your ankles, then it's at your knees, then it's at your waist, and then it's at your chest. I tried having this conversation with my brother. He doesn't want to hear it. He doesn't care, right? He works a job making $30,000 a year. It's like, yo, do this, do that. There's so many jobs you can make, $50,000, $60,000, right? You can double your income by doing the same amount of hours. I'm good. I'm fine. Eventually, he's going to drown. And I'm not going to help him. That's on you at that point, right? You got to figure it out. But you have to, it goes back to the saying, like, you can show somebody the door, but they got to walk through it. You can lead somebody to water, but they have to drink, right? And that's what I want to do with this channel, right? I want to try to wake as many people up as I can, show as many people the door as I can, show as many people the water as I can. But you have to wake up. You have to become conscious and be like, okay, I need to take my life into my own hands and figure this thing out. What options do I have? How valuable am I in this world? What can I do? Where can I take my talents and my skills to level up my life or drop down, right? I'm enjoying America. I like it here. I think I can continue to live here as the purchasing power of the dollar declines. I think I'll still be fine. I've built up enough safety nets around me to where I'm not going to drown. I've climbed high enough on the Titanic. I'm nowhere near where I want to be, but I'm also okay with dropping down to a lower tier society. And I wouldn't even really call it a lower tier society, but it's definitely, using the purchasing power of the dollar to go to Thailand, to go to the Philippines, to go to Central America, and just hang out down there and enjoy life while still maintaining a high living standard. That's an option that I'm not, that's not off the table for me. But yeah, man, America is the Titanic. Once you realize that, I think that's the bottom line in the video. America is the Titanic, right? Once you realize that, it's like, okay, cool. Like, let's see if we can get to that next level. Let's see if we can get to the engine room. Let's see if we can get to the sleeping quarters. Let's see if we can get to the dining room. Let's see if we can get to the top deck. That has to be your goal if you're going to maintain living in America. You must climb. You must get up to the top deck. And even, like I said, even once you get to the top deck, a lot of people are still jumping on a life raft, aka jumping to Thailand, jumping to the Philippines, jumping to Peru. Some people are jumping to Armenia or Greece or somewhere over in Eastern Europe. Spots in Africa, people out there moving to Kenya. But that's, again, that's just the main message of this video. Understand that we live in the Titanic. We're on the Titanic. Your life in America is the Titanic. And you must climb. You must keep going up. You cannot just stop at a level. Oh, I like my job, making $50K a year. Eventually you're going to drown. If you're not leveling up in your job, you should always try to be leveling up in your job. You can't just be a teacher and be okay. You know, you need to be a teacher, then you need to be a principal, then you need to be, I don't even know what's higher than a principal, like a district, you know, whatever. But you have to climb. You don't have a choice today. Especially since everybody's doing life by themselves, you have to climb. Climb or jump down. Climb or climb to the top of the Titanic, or get on the life raft. So yeah, I'm gonna leave that one there. Give you guys something to think about. Hopefully you guys are climbing. It's not over yet. It's not done. There's still options you can take. You know, we're not stuck in this system. There's still cracks to get out of, you know, that you can squeak through. Yeah, man. All right, hope you guys are having a beautiful day. Comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys at the next one. Peace.